Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. In today's video, we're going to briefly analyze how Tammy Abraham played a key role in Chelsea's 3-0 win over West Ham United. When we break down the game and we do look at the board, we have West Ham United starting in a 4-2-3-1 and Chelsea in a 4-3-3. So first we're going to look at the board and break down how West Ham United disrupted Chelsea from creating chances, and then look to see how they were able to cause Chelsea problems before Tammy Abraham's impact saved the day. When we look at how West Ham looked to approach the game without the ball, like I said, they were in a 4-2-3-1. But what was key here was their ability to midfield man mark across the pitch. We witnessed Mark Noble stepping into the path of Jorginho, and then Soucek and Rice would step into Mount or Conte if they did look to receive the ball. For instance, there were times where Jorginho did drop in between the center backs or to the right or left of Zuma and Thiago Silva, and we would see Noble stepping into his path to apply pressure. If Haller stepped into the path of Thiago Silva, then you would see Noble pushing towards Zuma but blocking off the passing lane in towards Jorginho. And there was even a time where you did see Mount dropping into an inside left position and Bowen stepped into his path. And what that meant for West Ham now was that if Chilwell was looking to push forward, then Soucek would shift across to ensure that the Chelsea left back couldn't break free down that left side of the pitch. And there were times where Jorginho did look to split the Chelsea center backs. And for instance, if you do have Thiago Silva on the ball, then you would see Haller and Noble stepping into Thiago Silva and Jorginho. And if they were able to shift the ball out to Zuma, then Haller and Noble would shift across to ensure that Jorginho couldn't get on the ball and that there was pressure on Zuma. So as you could see, West Ham did a very good job of ensuring that Chelsea's midfield couldn't get involved in the game. And even if they did allow the Chelsea center backs to push forward, they didn't have any other passing options. Werner and Pulisic were drifting into narrow positions, and they did have Sofal and Cresswell stepping forward to apply pressure. That meant that the fullbacks were tasked with pushing forward, but then you would see Bowen and Fornal shifting across to close them down. So that was how Moyes' tactics were effective in disrupting Chelsea's build-up play. But when they looked to push forward, there was one reoccurring theme that involved Bowen dropping off deeper to receive the ball ahead of the Chelsea left back. And then what would happen was that he would look to pick out either Cresswell or Sofal pushing forward beyond Werner or Pulisic, as neither Chelsea wide player did a very good job of tracking the runs of the overlapping fullbacks. When we look to the first example, it's Balbuena sliding the ball across Werner's pressure into Bowen, dropping off Emerson into a pocket of space to receive the ball. Bowen shifts central when he receives possession and locates Cresswell, breaking beyond Werner into space down the left channel as Azpilicueta maintains a narrow position. While Bowen's pass was loose into Azpilicueta, the Chelsea right back fails to clear his lines and it falls into an unmarked Cresswell in the left channel. Cresswell breaks into left half space with Azpilicueta attempting to recover his position, but the West Ham left back fires his effort wide of the far post. In the second half, following Thiago Silva playing a loose pass into Fornals, he instantly locates Bowen making a forward run into space beyond Emerson, which forced Mount to track back. Bowen does well to shield Mount away from the ball in the right channel to allow his teammates to push forward for support. And what we see next is that Bowen does well to turn across Mount and cut central to pull out Emerson and Jorginho. And this is where you see Cresswell charging forward due to Pulisic ball watching in a narrow position. Cresswell receives Bowen's pass in the left channel and carries the ball to the byline to pull out a tracking Pulisic. And when you look inside the Chelsea box, Cresswell has three options to pick out. And that's where you see Haller rising above Thiago Silva to meet Cresswell's delivery, but the Chelsea center back applies enough pressure to force the headed effort wide of the net. And when we look to one final example, it's Haller bringing down the ball into the path of Bowen ahead of Thiago Silva and Conte, with Mount applying pressure from behind. Bowen does well to evade the pressure of Mount and Conte to slide the ball across Azpilicueta for Cresswell, running beyond Werner and Kovacic. And Cresswell ends up pulling the ball back across Azpilicueta for Benrahma, but Mount's pressure disrupts the substitute shot attempt, and that ends up halting the play. However, when we focus on how Chelsea were able to win this game, we have to highlight Tammy Abraham's ability to drop deeper, to link play with his teammates by winning aerial duels, and getting himself into good goal scoring positions to create chances for himself and his teammates. When we look to the first example, what we end up seeing is that from a Jorginho first time ball, we witness Abraham dragging out Ogbonna into Chelsea's half to flick the ball onto a forward running Pulisic. Pulisic pokes the ball beyond Balbuena, and as he breaks into West Ham's half, this creates a 3v2 situation with Abraham pushing forward and Werner already positioned ahead of Sofal in the halfway circle. Pulisic carries the ball into the West Ham third with Werner peeling off Sofal's shoulder to the American's left and Abraham running beyond Ogbonna to his right. Pulisic, however, slides the ball to Werner late, and by the time his Chelsea teammate gets the ball under his feet, he can only fire a tame effort at Fabianski that is kicked away. In the build-up to Chelsea's second goal, we witnessed Abraham backing into Ogbonna to chest Mendy's long punt into an unmarked Mount positioned in the halfway circle. Mount slides the ball to Werner breaking into left half space, with Abraham positioning himself ahead of Cresswell. Werner cuts across Sofal and ahead of him is Mount occupying Ogbonna, Abraham, who was goal side of Cresswell, running towards the front post, and Pulisic peeling off the West Ham left back at the back post to create a 2v1 overload. While Werner scuffs his shot towards the front post, Abraham is free to direct the loose ball beyond Fabianski from point blank range because Cresswell holds his position due to Pulisic's run at the back post. And then when we look to the build-up to Chelsea's third goal, it starts with Conte sliding the ball to Pulisic dropping off Cresswell. Pulisic dribbles across Cresswell to poke the ball to Abraham, dropping into his own half away from Ogbonna as Pulisic continues his run forward. What we see next is Abraham backpeeling the ball into the path of Pulisic running beyond Rice, Cresswell, and across Ogbonna. If we speed up the attack, what we see next is following Pulisic sliding the ball to Mount in left half space, Mount receives space and time to deliver a ball ahead of Sofal into the 6-yard box where Werner is ahead of Ogbonna, Pulisic running across Cresswell towards the box, and Abraham's unmarked at the back post. Mount's delivery into the 6-yard box is attacked by Pulisic, and it bounces off Fabianski into the path of Abraham. And here you could see Cresswell once again watching a Chelsea attacker making a goal side run across him due to the overload at the back post. But Pulisic's pressure on Fabianski was significant here as it forced the West Ham keeper to clear the ball into an unmarked Abraham ahead of an open net, and the Chelsea striker doubled his tally to ensure the Blues secured all 3 points.
Hi everybody, thanks for watching and subscribe here for your latest tactical analysis and daily commentary on the InnerViews show. And if that wasn't enough, don't forget you could find more organic, unfiltered soccer/football analysis on the InnerViews podcast, the best soccer/football podcast in the world, available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and any Android apps on your Android devices.